If you're a writer, you know there's just a universe of software out there, right? And it all promises to make you more productive. But which tools actually work? Well, today, we're going to build the ultimate writer's tech toolkit. It's a streamlined workflow designed to take you from that first spark of an idea all the way to a finished manuscript. So, have you ever felt just completely paralyzed trying to choose between Scrivener, ProWriting Aid, and like a dozen other apps? You are definitely not alone. It's a huge pain point for so many of us. But stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to have a clear map to build the perfect toolkit for your process. All right, first things first. Every story needs a solid foundation. Think of this first stage as you being the architect of your manuscript. You're drafting, you're structuring, and you're organizing all those brilliant ideas. And for that, we're going to start with a tool that is tailor-made for big, complex projects. Okay, so the core idea behind Scrivener is what makes it so darn powerful. It's not just another word processor. No. It's a digital 3-ring binder. Just imagine a single app that holds your entire manuscript, all your character notes, and even your web research. Everything you need is in one spot, ready whenever you are. So how does that whole ring binder thing work in practice? Well, it's all about this really simple hierarchy. You've got the binder, which holds your entire project. Inside that, you create folders, which are basically your chapters. And then inside those folders, you have individual documents for each scene. Now, here's the real magic. You can write in any order you want, and then just drag and drop scenes or even whole chapters to restructure your story on the fly. It's amazing! And you can think of these features as your architect's workbench. Need to visualize your plot? The corkboard gives you virtual index cards to move around. Want that 30,000-foot view? The outliner has you covered. The split screen? Oh, it's a total game changer for research, letting you see your notes right next to where you're writing. And when you just need to focus, composition mode blocks out everything else. And finally, the compile function pulls it all together into a clean document ready for the next stage. Okay, you've done the hard work. You've architected your story, the structure is there, the scenes are all written out. Now, it's time for the polish. This is where we bring in the AI-powered editing assistants to help us refine that rough draft into a truly polished story. Now, what's really essential to understand here is that these tools are your second set of eyes. They're brilliant at spotting patterns you might miss, overused words, pacing issues, maybe some awkward phrasing, but they're not meant to replace your unique voice or a human editor for that matter. Just think of them as a style coach, not the author. In the world of AI editing for fiction, 2 names come up constantly: ProWriting Aid and Autocrit. Now, they might seem pretty similar on the surface, but they have very different strengths and are really designed with slightly different writers in mind. So, let's break them down. This comment from a Reddit user really hits the nail on the head. A lot of writers find that these tools aren't mutually exclusive. They can actually be complementary, with one tool handling the super deep line-level edits and the other focusing on that bigger story picture. So here's the quick takeaway before we dive deeper. ProWriting Aid is kind of like your all-around style and grammar expert that works almost anywhere you write. Autocrit, on the other hand, is a specialist. It's built from the ground up to analyze fiction and compare your manuscript to actual best-selling books in your specific genre. Pretty cool, right? This head-to-head really reveals some critical differences. Okay, look at the integrations row. This is huge. ProWriting Aid works directly inside Scrivener, Word, and Google Docs. Autocrit, however, is an online-only editor. That means you're constantly copying and pasting, which can be a real workflow killer. Also, notice that ProWriting Aid includes a world-class grammar check, while Autocrit actually requires a separate, paid Grammarly subscription to do the same job. But here's a super important warning. As writer Beth Turnage points out, these AI tools can suffer from something called genre blindness. For instance, an AI might flag all the short, punchy sentences in your thriller as a flaw because it doesn't understand that's a convention of the genre. So always remember, you are the author. Use the data as a guide, but you make the final creative call. So you've drafted, you've polished. Now what? It's time to share your work. This final stage is all about collaboration, getting that crucial feedback, and preparing your manuscript for submission to agents, editors, or even just your beta readers. You can draft in whatever tool you love, seriously. But when it's time to share, the industry really runs on 2 main platforms. Microsoft Word is the undisputed standard for submissions. Just about every agent and editor uses its track changes feature, so knowing it is pretty much non-negotiable. For collaborating with beta readers or a writing group, though, nothing beats Google Docs. The ability to handle real-time comments and suggestions just makes it the king of feedback. Okay, so we've looked at tools for drafting, for polishing, and for sharing. How do we put it all together into one single, cohesive process that just works every single time? Let's build that workflow. And here it is, the entire journey from draft to done. You start in your creative workbench, something like Scrivener, to get all your ideas organized. When you're ready for feedback, you export to Google Docs or Word. After you incorporate those notes, you run the whole thing through an AI assistant like Pro Writing Aid for that final polish. And the last step, you finalize the formatting in Microsoft Word, creating that clean, professional file for submission.
So here's the ultimate takeaway from all this. Stop searching for that one magic app that does everything. It just doesn't exist. The most successful writers don't have a magic tool. They have a magic process. They build a toolkit where each piece of software is chosen for its specific strengths at each stage of the journey.
We've laid out the map, and we've shown you the tools. We've gone from the big architectural phase of drafting all the way through the detailed polish of editing and right to the final presentation. So the only question left is, now that you have the map, what story are you going to build?